evening, everybody. Day 2 of the Supreme Pool Series. Joining us in the studio, we have Nick, who's been commentating on most of the matches, and Gareth, again, who's been commentating and doesn't really need an introduction. Right, guys, what do we think of day 1?
I think it was an incredible day of pool, actually. A lot of anticipation leading up into the event. And it started off with an absolute explosion, didn't it? It was Clint Anderson versus Darren Appleton. There was a lot of questions asked before the whole thing started about what the guys would do, having been away in America for so long. And Darren proved, and he kind of set the standard for the rest of the day, didn't he? Because all those guys, you know, Chris Melling, Carl Donahue, Carl Boyes, and Jason Shaw, and they just took the tournament by storm virtually.
Yeah, I mean, Gareth would know that playing with the bigger balls with the Chinese, it's hard to adapt back to the weight of the balls and the smaller cue ball.
Yeah, and you know, I know how hard that is because I have the odd game after trying to adapt back. So I was interested to see how those players that you just mentioned played, and you know, I saw Clint as quite a heavy favourite in that match, especially with it being the world rules, and obviously Shaw started off playing English 8 ball but hasn't played it for such a long time, and he would never even seen an English table living in America. Same with Appleton. So I was interested to see how they played, and to be honest, I was really surprised at the level that they played at. Really impressed with both of them. Chris sort of dabbles in between all of the cue sports, so you know, he's sort of talented that you sort of expect him to be good at whatever cue sport he plays. But really impressed with Darren, really impressed with Shaw. Didn't see much of Boyes. So by what I've seen yesterday, the 9-ball boys are more than capable of winning this tournament. Yeah,
I think the point you made yesterday to Mark Farnsworth was the fact that they're in the arena, the special players in the tournament, when they get out of that arena, they don't want to lose and they don't want to show themselves up, so they concentrate that little bit harder. If they were stuck at the corner table, then they might lose to somebody they should normally beat, but in that arena they get that little 10% extra that they need.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the thing is about them, they've got that competitive edge, haven't they? They're born winners. They know how to win. They know how to get across the line, and Darren showed that yesterday. But I mean, someone just asked me a really good question. They just said, "Who was the best player you saw yesterday?" You know, we watched 6 matches on that arena table, and if you'd have asked me before who I thought was the best person I was going to see there, I would have said probably Mark Farnsworth or Clint. But for me, it was between Jason Shaw and Chris Melling. And Jason Shaw just blew that table away yesterday. I mean, he didn't look like he was going to miss. And it almost felt like he was in a bit of a purple patch. But then just speaking to a couple of the players, they said they saw him play Shane Thompson earlier, and he was exactly the same. He's just come back into this game and just hit the ground running. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, what Lee said about being in the arena, and maybe that gives those players an extra 10%. I think it gives them more than 10% because the atmosphere in that arena, especially the first match, you know, it was new, everyone was watching, all eyes on that table, the arena looks amazing. It does generate a real cauldron, and that's what you need. You need an atmosphere where all eyes are on that one table, and I think those players like Shaw, like Appleton, like Malin, they're used to playing in that environment, they're used to playing in that arena where the other players are not so used to it. So Shaw and Malin just walk around the table like, you know, they're just walking around their front room at home. And for me, that is a huge difference, and so, you know, it gives them the edge. But like I said, really impressed with both of the boys. One thing I will say, which I think is a big difference on this event, and I know I touched on it yesterday, is the new shot rack. Because I was sure that the players, especially playing world rules, when the frames went scrappy and the balls are a little bit of a mess, you know yourself, like at world rules, it's a little bit like a game of chess.
It is, yeah, definitely.
So with this new shot rack, I mean, I commentated with Nick yesterday, and I kept making the point, and I kept making it because I couldn't believe how many times a ball didn't go near a cushion. So the rules are a little bit irrelevant when all the balls are in the middle of the table. It's literally just who has the best patterns and who's the best finisher.
Yeah, which is how pool should be. I mean, the tables are playing brilliant. The rack is enhanced that, so some great action ahead.
I think, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, the strapline when two worlds collide, I think it's more than that. For me, this series has also brought a community back together. To see players like Carl Morris and Rob Chilton, Lee Clough coming back into the game because they want to compete in this series, it's just fantastic.
Well, a name you just mentioned there, Carl Morris, he played Callan Singleton. and I actually put Callum as favourite because he's been doing quite well on the world rules side, playing world rules, playing somebody who's been out the game for 6 or 7 years. 11-0, some scoreline.
And you know what I think that shows? I think that just shows about, people talk about the sort of golden generation, if you like, back in the sort of mid-2000s when it was, or, early 2000s to mid, when all of these players were playing English 8 ball when they were all at the best. I think it just goes to show how good those players really were. Yeah. For them to just walk back in, having been in America, having been, in China, having been wherever they've been doing their own thing, playing snooker in Malin's case, and then to just walk back in and just pick an English 8 ball cue up and play to the level they're playing, I think it just shows how good those players really are.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's personified by Rob Chilton. I mean, he played yesterday against the real number one. That game was obviously a talking point because there's two big characters of the game. And Rob, another one who's been away from the game for a few years, and he just hit the ground running, didn't he?
Well, one match we didn't see, you talked about Rob Chilton. He played the pre-tournament favourite Tom Cousins and won, and that was a cracking match. It was very late. You guys needed to get some rest, so we didn't put that one on the stream. But
I hadn't seen that result.
Did you not know the result? Yeah,
no, I didn't.
He was, I think, Rob was something like 8-3 up. Tom brought it back to 8 each, and then he just run away with the last couple.
Wow. So I mean, Tom was one of the joint favourites, and also the biggest price in the Calcutta. So that's an amazing.
Yeah, he was, but I'm not shocked at that result at all, because again, going back to what I just said, Rob was one of those players where back in the day was one of the top players, and he's been out of the game for such a long time. You got to remember, it was only probably 4 or 5 years ago that Rob beat Tom heavily for money, for big money.
Yeah.
Which could have an effect. Going
and I did think about that before, but people like Rob, Carl, Darren, Chris, those sort of players. Obviously, sure, I didn't know where he was going to be at, but those players were obviously greats of our game, and I think what's forgotten about is how good they really were, and I think they're proving it now by just walking back in and going, well, in all fairness, I can just pick my cue back up and do what I want.
Yeah, but they've not got the money yet. A long way to go.
No, they haven't got the money, but what I'm talking about, just the standard that they're playing at.
They're showing a good level, yeah.
The level that they're playing at is unbelievable, considering they've just walked back in, which I think really just shows how great those players were and are.
Yeah, good era, Paul, and let's get on to this one now. So we'll get on to the next match. If you guys get back into the commentary box, we'll go straight on with the matches.
So good morning and a very warm welcome. You've seen the preview show, and we're ready to go again with day 2, and we bring you this match from the loser's side, and it's Craig Waddingham versus Scott Muscatt. We're all ready to go.
We're all ready, boys?
The players shake hands and they get ready to lag. Wow, I don't know if you heard that just on the little piece to camera there. There's a bit of shocking information for me. I didn't realise that Rob Chilton beat Tom Cousins last night. What an absolutely incredible piece of news to start the day. That game was just getting underway when I left. It must have been quite a late finish. So, Craig Waddingham wins the lag, and he's going to get us underway.
News ready, Craig to
So our players. The man you see at the table breaking now is Craig Waddingham. Nickname is Wad. He's 30 years of age. He's got 3 children, which is soon going to be 4 children. He uses a Jason Owen cue, and he uses a talisman tip 9mm. His pool achievements: he won the Masters a few years back, and he lost in the final of the World Champions a few years ago. He's also won a couple of tours, and of course, famously played Mark Boyle in those incredible money matches. Those 2 matches which they shared the spoils. They played somewhere in the region of 120 frames a pool, and there was only about 2 frames difference between them. Craig winning the first leg at home, Mark winning the second leg at his home. So Craig's opponent is Scott Muscatt, the young man at the table now. His nickname's Gascoigne. He's 20 years old. He uses a John Paris cue. He's the under-18 finalist in the World Championships, under-18 finalist in the European Championships, champion of Malta 2017 in the men's category. Started playing pool at the age of 8, as his dad encouraged him. He was a pool player himself, I believe. His dad's been his greatest influence, and he used to train him. Favourite player is Mick Hill. And the anticipation for this series for Scott is just to gain more experience. So that paints the picture, and it's a slightly different arena this morning than the one we left behind last night. It's early in the morning, and it's quiet. Not too many people around, but we know that's going to hot up through the day. There was a good crowd here yesterday. As we mentioned in the pre-match piece to camera, there's a real buzz of anticipation around this series, and it really is a who's who of the game. Some incredible games we saw yesterday. We'll touch on them later, do a little summary, a little review for those of you who have not had a chance to catch up with the action. There are other games going on around the room, so as things go on, we will keep you updated with those scores. But if you want to keep yourself updated, then you just need to go across to qscore.com and search for either the Players Pool events or the Jason Owen Open. So we are Beard Productions, and we are here in Newcastle under Lyme. Hopefully you managed to join us yesterday and catch a lot of the action, but if you weren't able to, then as I say, we will have a bit of a roundup later. But for now, we're still immersed in this first frame. This is loser's side. And there's already some incredible players on the loser's side. In action this morning already is Carl O'Donoghue, Shane Thompson, Clint Jansen, who is playing Ian Alley. I mean, goodness. The list just goes on, doesn't it? This is on the loser's side. Stevie Dempsey is playing Darren McVicker. Tony Halpin is playing Carl O'Donoghue. Carl's hit the ground running as well. He's taken a 3-0 lead. Ian Alley's 2-0 up on Clint Jansen. He's a racist to 8. So Clint needs to get his foot down there, otherwise he will be making a very early exit. So Scott just playing off the knuckle and across the face of the yellow. He's missed it. That's a foul. So there's 2 visits to Craig. Craig, a very experienced player. This is going to be a difficult game for Scott Muscatt. This table and the new cloth is just playing beautifully. I've heard nothing but good reviews from all of the players. Lovely tables. Fast, responsive, and very true. We'll get our closer look at this Shark Supreme rack, which we mentioned, which Gareth Potts has called a game changer. So, Scott not timing that one at all, and comes up dry, and it's Craig, who's already 1-0. Interesting to see the players. Certainly Craig deciding to leave the rack on the table. So, tricky shot there, missed by Craig. Gives Scott another look at the table. Nothing easy here. And one quite incredible scoreline at the moment is Ian Alley 4, Clint Ianson 0. So Clint is a very, very strong favourite to be the first person to be dropping out of this tournament. He's need to be careful there, and that stray red has hampered another one of his balls, and this clearance becomes increasingly difficult. Now I wonder if the yellow that's closest, oh well, it's in open table, the one closest to the black spot, whether he can he squeeze that in behind the red, just a gentle shot to knuckle to get it in front of the red, just like that. Okay, so that it buys him a bit more time. So Craig still with this awkward table, yeah, it gives him a bit of a headache there. If that covering fire wasn't in, he could comfortably move that red at the top of the table. I wonder if he's got a shot where he can just push that red that's hampered right at the top of the table towards the top rail, and just nestle the yellow in behind the red in behind the yellow. Would have meant Scott would have no shot, but he's just promoted one of his other balls, and he said to Scott, "Go on, have a go if you want to, because they're not there." Scott with 3 yellows that are causing problems now. The one by the black doesn't go into any pocket, maybe just into right centre, but I don't think so. You'd have to be perfect on it. The one on the bulk line has no place, and obviously the yellow on the side rail. So they've done the right thing, just promoting another one of those balls. And now we see probably the first tactical frame that we've seen. We certainly didn't see one yesterday.
And I guess we streamed probably upwards of 90, 100 frames of pool. Probably close to 100 frames of pool on this main arena table yesterday. And there weren't any that went tactical, but it's not a surprise here. These are two very good World Rules players. Craig, by nature, a very attacking player, but he knows the rules inside out. And Scott happy just to slow things down. So yellow's with a advantage now. I think I'll be tempted to promote the yellow by the black. You can see there now that Craig's played a fairly clever shot because he can now jam that yellow out. I'm not sure about that shot. I think if he makes that pot, he has to go game. And I think it's a bit early. He had a bit more time on his side. He was right in some ways to move that yellow away from the bottom right, because it takes away any opportunities for a DF. And that's what Craig was trying to do there, is just trying to jam that yellow out and put the red in. I don't know if Craig can just play across the face of that yellow and just push it back into the pocket. I'm not sure he can without potting it. So while this is going on, I'm just going to have a little look through the other scores from around the room just to keep you up to date. That's a nice shot from Craig. So in just those two shots, he's wrestled the advantage back. So Stevie Dempsey's playing Darren McVicker. That's a big matchup. Tough game. Tough game for both players. Neither would have looked at that draw and thought, oh yeah, that's all right. Stevie Dempsey is currently 2-1 up against Darren. Carlo Donahue is 6-0 up against Tony Halpin. So he's taking his frustration out on a poor Tony. Carl, having lost a hill match yesterday, being 9-3 down and coming back to 10 each. In fact, I think I'm right in saying he was 10. I think he was 10-3 down. So that one could be over fairly soon. Ryan Pisani and Jay Dewar won a piece. Andrew McKee and Dean Richardson won each. Omar Manchid and Ryan Clark 2 each. Ben Tanner, Jamie Graham 2 apiece. Clint Hansen against Ian Alley. Clint's pasted one up on the board now. He's now 4-1 down. And then Clint, one of the favourites before the event started. Amongst the favourites, he was, I think he was around about 20-1. Drew Hughes is currently trailing Jake Dillon Newlove 2-1. Yannick Bofi is playing Daz Lightfoot. He's 3-2 ahead. Matt Schofield and Craig Brown tied at 2 apiece. Shane Thompson is 3-0 up on Eddie Barker. Shane was a pretty hot favourite. He was, I think, 1-4 favourite. And Gabe O'Malley, he told us yesterday on commentary that he was going to win that game against Colin Finn, and I forgot all about it. I should have had a little bet on that this morning because he's 4-2 up. I forgot he said that. He did tell us he was going to win that game. He hasn't won it yet, but 4-2 ahead. I forgot Gabe was playing. Didn't get a chance to look at the prices with the bookie this morning. I did have a very small accumulator, but just for interest. So, hot news this morning, if you're just joining us. The pre-tournament favourite, the 6-1 pre-tournament favourite, Tom Cousins, was beaten last night by Rob Chilton. Rob Chilton reeling back the years and showing he's still got that class. Quite incredible. So this tough little cutback, very makeable shot for Scott to level things up at 1 apiece. So Carl is now 7-0 up against Tony Halpin. Carl O'Donoghue, he was a 1-10 favourite before that started. There is a bookie. He's a very busy bookie. I just noticed the post that he put up on here saying he's going to have to pay out everyone on Monday because he just doesn't have time to deal with all the requests. So he's a busy bookie. And is Jed Ronan. So please do contact Jed. All the prices up on the Players Pool event page. He's got the prices for the 9 a.m. session. Obviously, you're too late for that one now, but he puts the prices up for each session around about half an hour before it starts. So keep an eye out. Just looking through these prices. So Clint Hansen versus Ian Alley. Again, I think someone may have put that into accumulator as a banker because Clint was 1-4. But Ian Alley, what a great player he is. So the score in that now is Ian Alley 5, Clint Hansen 1. So Clint really looking like he's going to be exiting this tournament unless he can do something very quickly. Yannick Bofi is currently 4-0 up. Yannick was the favourite. He was 1-2. To beat Daz Lightfoot. Another good frame there by Craig. In quick order. He's now 2-1 ahead. If we get a chance, we'll pull those scores up on the screen. Just to let you have a quick look. And here they come. So scores from around the room. You see Stevie Dempsey just edging down McVicker. Jamie Graham against Ben Tanner. That's a tough game. Jamie's just 3-2 down at the moment, but he's been fighting. He was fighting yesterday. He was 1-10 favourite in his game yesterday, and he was 9-3 down. Brought it back to 10-1, lost a decider. Rich King on the loser's side. And Gabe O'Malley, as I say, he told us yesterday he was going to win that game. 5-2 up. He should have listened. Cut break from Scott. But he's lost to White. But again, we go back to something. I'll pick up on something that Gareth Potts was mentioning during the pre-match chat. The balls just never seem to end up on the rail. Maybe one. There's one there on the left-hand rail. But using this rack, they do go open. You're bound to get the odd ball, but generally, very, very open tables. And reds look really good here. There's a kind of natural roadmap. He can, the one he's just played, then this one in the middle, roll through a few inches for, I guess, one of the only tricky balls. And then he can maneuver down the table. It's a kind of natural path through the balls. It's wonderful when they come out like this. It's so often you see a break dish. Now he's just overrun that one slightly, and this is going to make this next shot much more awkward. Because now, I think, in fact, I'm not even sure he'll play the one next to the yellow. I think I'd prefer to play the one down table. Yeah, there you go, see, and one shot kind of manifests itself into the next. He's still okay, but he would have wanted, his roadmap before would have shown him playing this one furthest right. But he's going to have to adjust now. That's why we leave ourselves options. So he would have worked his way from top to bottom of the table, but now he's going to have to go from bottom back up to top, and a lot more meterage for the cue ball to cover. That's when we talk about good patterns and good roadmaps. But we always try and play to areas to leave ourselves the most chances. So he's just looking now. He needs to, there's a fair bit of traffic to navigate to get back up for the black. So he's going to pop this red bottom corner, just leave himself an angle. So he's found a spot now where he can play this red, and he can drift naturally through that gap between the two yellows. Lovely. And Craig now accelerating through the gears. He really is a class player. He had a tough game yesterday to push him across into the loser's side. It would have been a long day for the people who lost the 10 a.m. matches yesterday morning. Craig played, I think, around about 1 p.m., around about the 1 p.m. session. He played Neil Raybone. That was a really tense game on one of the other stream tables, and he lost 11 frames to 9. Absolutely no shame there, Neil Raybone. Really, really good player, top player. One of the stalwarts on the IPA, and that was really a match of that personifies the strap line you see behind the referee when two worlds collide. Neil Raybone, one of the fixtures in IPA, and Craig Waddingham, well, he's part of the furniture in the World Rules. So that's how Craig got here. And if you lost yesterday, then there were no losers side games yesterday, so you literally played one game, and then it was back to the hotel room. So it was a long day for anyone losing yesterday, and then an early start this morning. So if they decided to let their hair down a bit and think, I haven't got to play again today, so I can have a few beers, and they've had a bit of a shock when they've woken up this morning. I'm imagining the way the bar was rocking last night, there was a few sore heads. So there were some late games played last night. I didn't get a good chance to look through the results yet, so we'll just have a quick run through while Craig works his way through these reds. So we already heard beforehand that Carl Morris beat Callum Singleton 11-0. And Callum Singleton is a really, really adept player, so that's some result. Carl Morris, reading back the years. Gareth Hibbert, he was one of the pre-match tournament favourites for me. He is just going through the gears. He won his first match 11-7. In his second match, he played Rich Toomey. Really, really difficult game. Rich, a great World Rules player. Gareth Hibbert, 11-3. I'm telling you, watch this space. Gareth Hibbert. There's a lot of players in form, and he's one of them. Ex-world champion. I wouldn't put it past him to win the whole thing. So Jordan Shepherd played Jordan Templeton. He won that 11-5. Jordan's feeling good, actually. He's back playing somewhere near his best and really enjoying the game. So another one there that, well, who knows? Who knows? There's a lot of people that have a good chance. Jordan Shepherd, when he's on fire, tough player to beat. But Jordan Shepherd is going to be in action at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and he is playing Jack Whelan, because Jack Whelan beat Carl Boys late last night, 11-10, Hill game. So that's a really tough game for Jordan Shepherd next up. In fact, tough game for both players. Jack will feel the same way. Ronan McCarthy beat Brian Halcrow, 11-6. Phil Harrison beat Neil Wren. Closer game than some people would have thought. 11-9. Hats off to Neil Wren. Ben Davis went through. He beat Andy Barber. But the shock... Do I call it a shock? I want to call it the shock of the tournament. But it's not really. Because Rob Chilton beat Tom Cousins 11 frames to 10. Now, it'll be a shock to some people because some people thought that Tom Cousins was nailed on for this title. I mean, he'd already won it without turning up. But Rob Chilton, reeling back the years, fantastic stuff from him. I believe he was 8-3 up. Tom Cousins came battling back and made it 8 frames each. Won 5 on the bounce. But Rob Chilton managed to wrestle himself across the line and he threw Tom Cousins across into the loser's side. Now someone's got a really tough game today against Tom Cousins in the loser's side because Tom will be like a wounded animal. But he's lost a life. I would suggest if you go to the bookie, you might get a bit of value now because he won't still be 6-1. You might get a bit of value. So if you fancy Tom Cousins manoeuvring himself through the loser's side, it's a long road back, mind. It is a long road back. There's a lot of tough players in there. And that was pretty much it, I think, for last night. Carl O'Donoghue's through. He's beaten Tony Halpin 8-0. So looking good for his 1-10. Foul because you didn't touch your cushion. So 2 visits to Craig, and it's looking ominous now. He's 4-1 up. Stevie Dempsey 3-1 up against Darren McVicker. Darren could be an early exit. Be sad to see him go. So it's heading that way at the moment. Yannick Bofi's hitting his stride now. He had a tough opening game yesterday. Really tough. Played Adam Davis, former world champion. So we got a bit of company in the commentary now. Mike's come in. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, good morning, mate. You all right?
Mike, yeah, this is Gibbo. He's one of Craig's best mates.
Yeah, brother-in-law, yeah.
Brother-in-law, of course
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, brother-in-law.
I think we commentated together on the.
Was it the Boyle match?
It was the Boyle match, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Epic match.
Yeah.
It was a epic match.
Yeah.
Probably one
Craig
of the
doing the
best.
business here, isn't he?
Yeah, it was
Just making short work of this. 6-1 up now.
about time he turned up.
Yeah. That's true. Mind you, he had a tough game last night.
Oh,
didn't he?
yeah, very tough. Yeah, he's, Neil's a great player.
Yeah.
We always said when we see the draw, you know, and the thing with Neil is he's obviously a good Welsh player as well. So Craig didn't know. Craig's obviously a good Welsh player, but it didn't really matter because Neil's a good Welsh player as well. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no advantage, you know, to look for into the rules or anything.
Yeah.
Seen some of the results just lately, some of the crazy results and some
I
crazy
know.
results.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is. Well, I've just gone through them from last night.
It's just
You know,
mind-boggling.
Tom Cousins being beaten by Rob
Oh,
Chilton.
I did tip that.
Yeah, I mean that's
But only because of
it's
only
not a
because of the
surprise, is it?
price.
Because Rob Chilton,
Rob's a
anyone
great
who
player.
you know, everyone thought, and I'm guessing with the bookie, he'd have probably been.
Tom's the informed player. Don't get me wrong. You know, Tom's
Yeah.
the man to beat because he's obviously, like I say, he's just done Boyle twice, which
Yeah.
you know we've been up to Scotland as well to do that. So
Everyone thinks he's unbeatable, don't they? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
he's an absolute Tom's an absolute machine.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not get that wrong at all. He's
yeah,
the
but
man.
Rob Chilton, one of the best that's ever played the
Exactly.
game.
You know, you're playing against other machines. That's the difference with this tournament.
Yeah,
That's you know,
yeah.
to all other tournaments, every round you're like, well, that could be a world final.
Yeah.
And then another round you're like, well, that could be a world final. It's just round after. Even in the loser side, I've seen some of the draws in the loser side. Ian Ali, Clint Lee Anderson, first round, loser side.
I know.
You
I
know?
and Clint was 5-1 down. He's making a bit of a comeback.
Yeah.
He's now 5-3.
Cool.
But
Well, Ian was a big price in that match. I thought he was. I think Ian was 5-2 in that match.
yeah,
I think
he
you
was.
know Ian. That kind
Great
of
player.
Yeah,
Great
he,
player.
You know, he can pop balls from
Oh.
lampshades,
Yeah.
and he could beat anybody 8-0 in 10 minutes. That's
Yeah.
the kind of guy he is.
Yeah. Yeah, if you wanted a couple of
Value.
long odds this morning, a nice long odds double, you could have found a good bit of value in there today.
Definitely, I agree. What's
I mean, it's hard to bet against Clint Hansen, but at the
Course
same
it is.
time, Ian Ali in a race to 8, you know, there's definitely some value to be had.
when we're talking about bets, I'm talking like value, not that I think who's favourite. It's just like who's the worth the price. If you know.
Yeah.
Craig's.
And, Darren McVicker's just not woken up this morning. He's now 4-1 down to Stevie Dempsey. So, as we said, could be an
Well,
early exit for him.
Another good player. You know,
Yeah.
he might not have even had a chance in that match. You don't know. Stephen's capable of that. There's a lot of players capable of that.
Yeah. The thing is, if anyone hits a purple patch over these couple of days,
Well,
they're capable of winning,
Look
aren't
at
they?
Callum Singleton.
I know.
Let's go there. Do you know what I mean? Campbell Singleton's, you know, probably the informed players at the minute. Young lad, confidence is through the roof. Like, you know, potting balls from everywhere, beating everybody, and then he comes up against Morris and just, I don't know.
11-0.
It's just ridiculous. And Carl's only just started playing again, which is a scary thing. He's only been playing like last year. I know he's been practicing in Hull with Jake Dillon-Newlove, so I know he has been putting the time in.
That's a lovely shot.
Craig's playing a bit better this morning, looks like,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Is it 5-1 or 6-1? I'm not.
That's 6-1, I think.
Is it 6-1 now?
Yep, 6-1.
Okay.
So I don't really know Scott Muscatt. Is he Moroccan?
No. He's
Not sure where he's from.
yeah, he's British, I think, isn't he? He's, I got his profile here actually.
Okay. Oh yeah, I read the some of the profiles being read out and stuff.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we asked all the players to fill out a profile before.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to win it? What's your pick? Come on, putting you on the spot.
I mean, it's difficult to call because you just there's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes without saying. There's so
course.
many. It's difficult to look past Phil Harrison because he's so consistent,
He's
and you
man,
just
yeah.
don't expect an upset when he's playing.
Great player.
Difficult to look past him.
Well, the only reason you say Phil, you got to look at Phil. Let's go for Phil just for a start. Phil, over the last sort of say 5 to 8 years, has probably won more tournaments than anybody at like a professional level, which is scary considering how many times he does it. And
Yeah.
also, he goes and nearly double dips a lot of times, you know, where he goes and wins both in the same weekend and stuff. The guy's an absolute machine. But there's a lot of machines here.
Yeah. Yeah. So Phil's up there for me.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the I wouldn't have ever said this before the event started, but one of the favourites now has got to be Jason Shaw.
He's on fire, isn't he?
What he did yesterday, he was not just beating players, he was blowing them away. And I thought
He's a player.
that it was a purple patch that he was hitting when he was on the stream table, just because he was buzzing, he was on the stream table.
Played well
But
against
apparently
Shane.
did exactly the same thing against Shane Thompson.
I watched
Didn't-
a bit of that match. Jerry did play well against
Didn't look like missing. So casual, so easy, lovely to watch, and has to be one of the tournament favourites now.
He's the thing with Jason is like he's a great, you know, he's an all rounder as well. You know, he can play all sports, but his confidence is through the roof. Obviously,
I did not expect
ridiculous.
to see him do what he was doing yesterday. I mean,
Struck round,
I know the kind of skill that guy's got, but
He's got some
to be away and just playing with
I'm
the bigger
amazed,
balls for the
yeah.
last couple of years,
Same
I
with Daz.
didn't expect him. He's taken it apart. It's ridiculous.
Same with Daz as well, to be fair.
Can't speak highly enough about what I saw yesterday. I mean,
Mellon, Daz.
Chris Melling, oh my goodness me. So we mentioned them all, and another one for me. I don't know why. I mentioned it on commentary earlier. Really like Gareth Hibbert for this.
Yeah, a great player. I love Gareth. He's a good player, good guy as well.
I got talking to Viv a few weeks ago, and she was saying that Gareth, he's playing World Rules a lot. You know, he plays them week in, week out.
Yeah.
So you know
Yeah,
this
he's-
thing, and Potsy mentioned a couple times on commentary yesterday. This new rack,
He's going to help.
it's making the rules
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Of course.
He said beforehand that he thought it had to be a kind of stalwart World Rules player who was going to win this, a kind of Phil Harrison or Tom Cousins or one of those kind of
Yeah.
people, you know, because the rules will make a difference. But with this rack, it makes the rules irrelevant. It doesn't matter what rules you're playing. It's going to be the person who's got the best patterns and the person who's potting the balls the best. So
What I've noticed, though, the only thing I'd like to say, what I've noticed is, I mean, I used to play a bit of 9-ball and stuff, and we used to use it a lot in there, but with the table being bigger, obviously it don't get clustered as much. Obviously there's a lot more balls fall onto the magic rack, or
Yeah.
sorry, the shark rack, on the table. But for me, I've seen when a player's asked the referee to take the ball, you know, to take it off,
yeah,
they've took it off, regardless if there's balls on it or anything.
yeah,
I'd like the referee to turn around and say, no, I can't. Because sometimes they're moving the rack and they, you know, like they're putting the ball marker down. And it, you know, I'm not saying it's hard because the ball marker ends up on top of the shark rack.
Yep.
So then they've got to try and move the shark rack out.
yeah, exactly.
And that little fraction, sometimes, just a little tiny, like a millimetre either side, can make the difference of a ball going
Yeah,
and not going.
exactly.
So I'd
yeah,
like them just to
yeah,
say, no, I can't.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
move on.
And Melling was happy. In fact, we've seen Craig leave it on the table a few times
because
today.
you
There's
just play
seen
9-ball, you just leave it on. You
Yeah,
know, if you play your
yeah.
punch shot over it, you're not going to make any
no,
difference.
no, absolutely. If you play a stun shot across that, you have no problems whatsoever. It's I mean, if you try and roll a ball across it, you might get a deviation. So don't roll a ball across it. If
Yeah.
you know you're going to roll a ball across it, then get the ref to remove it.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's no harm. I mean, we saw Chris Melling do it yesterday, but then he's used to playing with it. A lot of these players. I mean,
It's a
I
new-
guess for me when I started using it, I did find when I leave it on the table, it's a foreign object
Yeah,
there.
of
It's
course,
something
that's
that
right.
catches your
Foreign
eye,
body on the table, that's
and,
right.
and it was almost like I didn't want that there because it wasn't. If it was in my eye line, it was just like
Yeah. No, I know what
you
you're
know,
saying.
it
It's just there.
shouldn't. It
should
shouldn't.
be
It was
there.
just a psychological thing.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. No, I know exactly what you're saying. But
So
yeah, I just like the referees a bit. I think it's because it's all new to obviously the referee as well. So I think the referee's just being too courteous at the minute, if you like.
Yeah.
I think they should just turn around and just say no.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you know, not only that, but when there's pressure on you as well, you know,
yeah.
like here we go
But
again. Like, this is
it's
another-
like now. I mean,
See, that's not too
Scott's
bad.
asked for it to be removed,
Yeah.
and it will only take a second.
Yeah,
The
that's
other
not
thing,
too bad.
there's a bit of a trick here as well, isn't there? Because if you want to, you're on the clock. So if you want a few extra seconds to work out your
Exactly,
pattern,
yeah.
ask the ref to move it
Yeah.
because
the clock's not running,
That's
so
right.
it gives them an extra few seconds just to.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but in actual fact, you're absolutely right. In this situation that you're looking at, it didn't make any difference
No.
removing that rack.
No,
None.
because it's just one ball. He's not going to make. I'm just saying when it's like when he has to put there's 2 or 3 balls on the on the rack, and then he has to like move ball. And
Oh,
I
yeah,
see
I
it the
know,
other
I
day. I
know.
see it earlier on, and it's not the referee's fault. I don't blame the referee.
There has been a little ball marker developed, which has got a chamfer on the underneath, so it's got an undercut.
Okay.
So when
Yeah,
you
that's
bring it
okay.
in,
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't sit on the
Yeah,
on the sheet,
You can still move out.
which is better.
I see Max fiddling with one last night, and he just can't. I mean, I want to know: is it if the player removes it, is it and the ball just slightly moves? Is that a foul?
I know, that's the question, isn't it? Because we did see yesterday the ref.
Yeah, I've seen the ref
just
move a few
just
balls.
the black just moved just fractionally. It just moved the fraction one way, and then it just rocked back into the same place. But you think, well, the ball actually did move.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's took a different path to what it meant to be on.
I mean, it's yeah, it's.
It's. I think the theory of it is really.
It's a
good.
trade-off,
Yeah.
really. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a small price to pay maybe
Yeah,
for
that's what I
getting
think that's what
the
it is.
kind of consistent breaks that we've seen,
Yeah.
and it has been.
Are you looking forward to these new rules?
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I'm surprised
So-
they haven't put the nomination and skill showing. That was what was me like.
Well, the trouble is, I think they considered it, but
think that was like
the problem with the nomination, for me, is if you're careening into 3 or 4
Yeah.
balls, and you nominate the one on the left-hand side,
Yeah.
who's following that to see if that is the ball that goes in the pocket?
I know what you're saying.
Or one, I mean,
But that's probably a
it's
very
easy.
rare-
It's easy in American because you say the 15 ball or the
Yeah,
12 ball.
of course.
The only way they could have done that if they brought out a numbered set of balls.
I agree with you, to a certain respect, but what I'm saying is that kind of shot what you're talking about, where you've got a chance of putting 2 or 3 balls and not knowing which ball's gone in, maybe happens 1 in
Yeah, I know,
a
but
million.
I know,
But
but
that's the same as hitting both balls at the same time, is it not? And you don't know. Sometimes you can't call it. It's the same thing.
it is. But it's still.
I know it's
You know,
still a thing.
how do you administer that as a referee?
But you could. The thing is, though, I think sometimes, with that, like yourself, maybe people look into it too much because I think you can go through the normal set of rules, any rules, and you can find fault. Even whilst I've been there for 50 years, you could say, right, you could manipulate that rule.
Yeah.
You can manipulate it somehow. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the biggest one what people wanted in, the only one, not the biggest rule what people wanted, was a nominated skill shot.
Yeah.
That was the big one.
Yeah, I just think that
I know why they've left
it's
it
been
in.
so difficult to administer.
And also,
And it was discussed. I know
Yeah.
it's discussed.
but also, yeah, I imagine it was, yeah. But also, it's I can understand why I left it in. The excitement of the game, that's why 9 ball's so exciting because you've got the chance of that fluke or that chance of that ball flying in somewhere or a crazy cannon or something like that, and that's what it is. Here's the real number 1.
There is
Cameron Dunlop and the real number 1 and
the
Danny
real
Turner.
number 1. Goodness me.
The real number 1
There he
is
is.
not an happy bunny with me.
No.
No, he's not an happy bunny with me. It was, last night we did a bet together.
Oh yeah.
Me and George. We had a 4-fold, and I said to George, pick them out. I've lost so many deciders this week, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So pick them out, George. Picks 4 out, and he picks Nosco to beat Fitzsimmons. And I was like, nah.
Oh, no.
I was like, nah.
Oh no.
Anyway, then Craig jumped on board and he was like, yeah, I agree, Fitzsimmons. And then George went, okay, we'll go with You know what happened?
I'm not sure I bet against
know what
Nosco
happened,
against
don't
him.
you?
Yeah, I know. Deciding frame.
Oh,
And Fitzsimmons has missed a pretty easy black as well, hasn't he?
10-5 down, gets it back to 10-all.
I know.
Do you know how many times that's happened to me this weekend? It's ridiculous, honestly. I'm not even lying. People that's been like miles behind, got it back and lost. It's like,
Yeah.
There's been some good comebacks, but no one's completed it yet.
Yeah.
One I've seen, Half and Dad. Half beat Dan Davey,
Yeah.
10-6 down,
That's right,
beat
yeah,
him 11-10.
Yeah.
He's the only one I've seen complete a comeback.
So because I saw the red carpet outside, I take it that was all for George, was it?
Yeah,
I saw the red carpet and there was a entourage of about 4 or 5 girls. They were all 9s and 10s, obviously.
Yeah, he's Is some
He's a character.
some ledge.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, there was a fanfare as well, like a marching band.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was something else. Open top bus.
Was it helicopter coming
It
by?
was incredible. It was incredible to see it. Yeah,
Balloons
private
and
helicopter.
balloons and
Oh, they
streams.
really laid it on.
He's not an happy bunny though. He's
But-
probably texting like somebody.
I expect he's got a couple of tens on the text, hasn't he? Hey,
He's
he's
some
got-
legend. He?
he's got a 9 and a. Well, probably not a 9.
He said he only got beat by Chilton because of the break. Did him?
Yeah, yeah.
I can imagine.
Well, and the
as
shots he missed.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't want that. He didn't say that.
I mean, he missed. You know, it's probably
did say
something to
that.
do with the fact that he missed some shots. As well, but,
No,
you
it
know.
was a break. He said he kept plopping two over the top bags, and that was it. He couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, the real number wasn't a liar, man. He just speaks the truth. So we got up here. Oh, is that the
No, that's.
losers round? Is that Paul Riley versus the real number one? Was it? Paul Riley got a.
Yeah, those are the upcoming games, I
Well,
think.
Tom smashed him 11-1, and I can't believe that result. That's another shot result for me.
Which one was that, sorry?
The Tom and Paul Riley result,
Well,
11-1.
it kind of wasn't, only because I saw Paul. I've known Paul sort of just through Paul for quite a few years, and I caught him over when he was getting his photos done, and we just had a little chat.
Yeah.
And he said that he had no expectations. He's come in playing Tom Cousins, and he has just not practiced. He's so busy at work, he's not had a chance to play at all.
Right.
So he's literally come here just to
He's a good player, Paul.
just to soak it up. But he is a
He's a
very
good
good
player,
player,
yeah.
tough player. Yeah.
Good
So
money player
when I
as
saw that, I wasn't.
Well, I
really
was shocked when I
too
see it. I was
surprised.
like, oh, that's a bit strange. What's going on with these? These are scores here.
Those are the scores. Yeah.
Well, that's not the right score. So I've just seen the score of Ryan Clark. That's not the right score.
No. 5-6.
Ah, 5-6.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. So, okay, I've got it now.
Yeah. So Gabe O'Malley
Yep,
is 6-5 up against.
That's the
Coventry. Yeah.
local derby for me, that one. That's the
Couple of mates, aren't
the
they?
two local boys from Scunthorpe there.
Gabe was on commentary last night, and he said,
Yeah.
back me. He said, I will win that. And I forgot this morning, didn't
Well,
I?
they
So-
put them in at 5-6, 5-6.
I know.
I think there might be a few people on that, but Cole can play as well. He got a really good result yesterday. I know he lost, but only loses 11-10 to Darren McNara. McNamara?
Yeah,
He's,
David
Dave
McNamara,
McNamara. Yeah, he's a great result, that, to be fair.
Ian Alley is
Is he winning?
now on the hill. He's 7-3 up against Clint Aronson.
5-2.
Ben Tanner's on the hill against Jamie Graham. 7-4.
Yeah.
That's going to bust my accumulator.
Yeah, I did
Thanks,
Jamie
Jamie.
Graham as well.
I thought he was value at 11-10. I'll be honest.
that's
It's a
why I
tough
did
game,
it.
but I
Yeah.
thought he was a bit of value.
I did exactly the same reason.
I thought he was going to be like a wounded animal after
Yep.
after losing yesterday,
That's what I thought.
because he came back.
It's a 10-all, didn't he?
He came back to 10-all, yeah, after being 9-3 down.
Crazy tournament this.
It is. We're going to just see. I mean, over the next 5 events, we're going to see so many upsets.
Yeah.
Are you turning up to all of them, or?
Yeah, I'll probably be
You
on
are,
that,
yeah,
actually,
brilliant.
Just looking at who's that? Seb Webb's 1-0 up against Dan David. That's another pot fest there.
Yeah.
Seb said he didn't. I don't think he did much wrong against Millen, did he? Just
So this is Craig. Apologies, we've just kind of like taken our focus away from the game, but
the
it's
thing
been
is, most
speaking for
people who
itself.
watch it are
Yeah,
full
that's
players
right.
anyway.
Yeah. So Craig does the business, and he progresses on the loser's side into round 2. Scott Muscatt, we say goodbye from this tournament. We'll see him again in event 2. Thank you very much. Thanks to Mike.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate that. We'll be
Yeah,
back
enjoyed
with another game fairly shortly. I'm not sure what time they kick off. I would imagine probably 11, but it won't be long. We'll be back with you soon.